My name's Joe Adebato, by the way. I'm the Director of Counseling here. Again, thank you for coming. On the BCAT website, we film all our events, whether it be, we have several night events throughout the course of the year. We have a grade 9 and 10 academic planning night. We have junior college planning night, senior college planning night, a couple of financial aid nights as well. So BCAT films all that, and once in a while we will film a breakfast. I don't know why I still say film. It's really not film anymore, but you know, now it's being recorded. So the counseling department offers a variety of topics throughout the school year on different types of programs and things happening within the school. So our parent breakfast, we change topics from year to year. Some were steady topics, but others we switch throughout the year. So we've already had our grade 9 parent breakfast. Today's a dual enrollment breakfast, which we started last year, and that's what we're going to discuss today. We have several other breakfasts throughout the course of the school year, and that's all posted on the district calendar and the school calendar. Next month, December, our next breakfast in December will be on stress and anxiety and coping strategies, and then we'll have several other topics throughout the year. The other thing I wanted to mention about this morning is it's going to be somewhat informal. I do have an agenda and some points to cover. We want to clarify what dual enrollment is. We'll also have dual enrollment teachers popping in. And so if they pop in, they may pop in at any point in time just because they're teaching, they're going from class to class. So I'll just when they come in, I'll just give them the floor at that time so they can kind of say what dual enrollment class they teach. And so on and so forth. And we're also very, very lucky to actually have Amanda Wells here from Middlesex Community College. And we work with Middlesex. We do have dual enrollment relationships with other colleges as well, but Middlesex by far is our offer our most dual enrollment classes with Middlesex. So I'm going to give her the opportunity to come up to speak a little bit about dual enrollment as well. And so what I first wanted to do was give a little bit of background of the dual enrollment program here at our high school, just so parents kind of have an idea of where it generated from and how it all started. And it started back in 2009. And Dr. Conti had come from Virginia. And what was happening there at the time is students were graduating high school with an associate's degree. And so it was a different concept because in this part of the country or in this state, dual enrollment, I think folks think that's in going to college at night while the student goes to school during the day, so maybe picking up a class at night. This model was different. This model was getting the teachers in the school, giving them the ability to be adjunct professors, and they are teaching their high school course, but it's also approved with the nearby colleges. So that's the model that we started implementing way back when. And again, Dr. Conti at the time went over to Middlesex, worked with the president there, and they got the ball rolling. So our first class that we offered here was psychology. We offered an honors psychology class, and so that teacher went through the process of working with Middlesex, developing a syllabus that's used at Middlesex and here, and essentially becoming an adjunct. So a student signing up for their Burlington High School course would also have the opportunity to sign up for a dual enrollment course. So we started out with psychology. We then added calculus the next year, and it kind of grew from there, and we're still in the process of trying to grow our dual enrollment program. And so I think the opportunity for the college credit is definitely the appealing piece to this process. So what I was going to do is I have dual enrollment question and answers, but before I jump in, what I'd like to do is give Amanda the opportunity to talk a little bit about dual enrollment from her perspective, and then I'm going to jump back up and continue the process to go over a couple other points of dual enrollment. Yep. So we're gonna get to that. I do have that written down because that's a very common question. But before we do, I just wanted to give you the opportunity to come up, say hello, what you do at Middlesex, and anything else you think is important.
Oh, thank you. Hi, everybody. Can you hear me okay? All right, perfect. My name's Amanda Wells. I am the coordinator of dual and concurrent enrollment with MCC. Middlesex Community College and BHS have been working together closely, especially this past year, to expand opportunities for your students, not only to just enhance some of the program offerings, the course offerings by approved and vetted instructors here, but to have even on-campus opportunities, because we really want to see the kids get more exposed to the college experience. So as it was said before by Joe, these classes are taught in the high school, so there's no interruption to your students' college high school day. So it's really important because these kids are not only working towards high school graduation, but they're working towards their college credits. We do have partnerships where students do graduate with their associates, and I believe Burlington, we want to work eventually towards that, and that would be fantastic. It's truly amazing the drive that these students have, and these credits are transferable. The community colleges in Massachusetts have partnerships with the state colleges and the UMass network called Mass Transfer. So there's a couple of different pathways there: the general education pathway, which are classes such as English Comp 1 and 2, history, math, it's to bachelor's degrees. And it's not only limited. We have students, one of my favorite stories to share with students and parents is we had a student earn 30 credits, dual enrollment credits, and they transferred all 30 of those credits to a private out-of-state school, completing their whole freshman year. That family saved about $60,000. So it's truly a phenomenal opportunity. I'm looking forward to continuing working closely with you all to expand the program and just give the students better opportunities.
I'm sure we'll have questions too. So again, what I'm going to do now is I'm essentially going to go through some of the points of dual enrollment, and then we'll open it up for more specific questions. And like I said, as I'm going here, we may have some dual enrollment teachers pop in. So one of the common questions, well, we answered who teaches the courses. They're Burlington High School staff members that have been vetted through Middlesex. The other colleges we work with for dual enrollment are LaSalle University and UMass Boston. And so again, we're trying to expand our network at all times, but you know, obviously Middlesex offers and works with us for the most amount of courses. How do students qualify for dual enrollment? So one thing to keep in mind is, in terms of registering for dual enrollment, it's not an automatic, at least right now with the way the process is set up. So what would happen with dual enrollment is students actually need to fill out an application, all right? And that application is completed and then given to us in the counseling office. So a teacher could be teaching a dual enrollment class, okay, but not every student will necessarily be registered because there is a financial component to this. So it would be up to the student and parent, family to decide whether or not you want to actually apply. So keep that in mind. And so given there's an application process, there are things that students need to make sure, expectations that they're meeting in order to be eligible to get the actual credit within the class for dual enrollment. So we're always going to give our credit at the high school, but the student has to take a couple of extra steps. With Middlesex, specifically, LaSalle, so Middlesex is an application, and LaSalle and UMass Boston is handled by the teacher, okay? So the process for the students, some of the things that they need in order to qualify are at least a 2.0 GPA. And then we have all our students take the PSATs, as you know, or the SATs. A student needs a minimum of a 480 on the PSAT, okay? Now, what if they didn't hit that mark? Middlesex, and when I say that these parameters are specifically for Middlesex, LaSalle and UMass Boston don't have any prerequisites. If they're enrolled in the course, they're automatically eligible. But with Middlesex, they, again, 2.0, and a 480. If you don't achieve that 480 on the English PSAT or SAT, they actually have a process in place where you'll do self-guided assessment, thank you, I was going to screw that up, a self-guided assessment. And our students that don't achieve that follow the self-guided assessment, and 9 times out of 10 they will then qualify. All right, so please keep that in mind with the expectations that students need to meet in order to be in the class. And as I'm talking, feel free to continue to ask questions. I'm going to get to your question too. So that's how students qualify. Are students required to take a dual enrollment course? They are not required. Again, there's a financial piece to it. We do have assistance for those that have financial need, but students aren't required. It is optional for students to participate in dual enrollment. Now that Dr. Conti is here, you missed the beginning where I said 2009, how in Virginia students were graduating with 30 college credits, right? Associate's degree. So we kind of talked about the background a little of dual enrollment. So I don't know if you want to give a plug for dual enrollment. Okay, thank you. Okay, so colleges, in terms of the credit itself, it's right now, it's $128 per credit, okay? So the way it works, you fill out the application, you mail it into, you drop it with us. Teresa, who's here, our registrar, she handles all the applications. She will work with Middlesex, she'll work with Amanda and her staff to get the applications there, and then Middlesex actually sends the bill to you. So it'd be your first real experience of the college tuition bill. And so bill gets mailed to you, and then at that point, you know, obviously you would then pay the bill. So at that point, you're on the books with us and you're on the books with Middlesex. And the end of the semester, a student would get an actual transcript. Okay, so whatever the grade is with our school, our teachers, our dual enrollment teachers are putting grades in Aspen, and they're putting the grades in with the program at Middlesex. All right, so that's kind of how it would work within the classroom. And again, the credits right now are $128 per credit. The other piece to keep in mind is the college, most colleges and universities will accept the credit. In fact, as you heard, the Mass State colleges and the UMass system all absolutely accept that credit. Where we see some issues are there are some private universities that are asking if the, and I don't know if you've heard of this trend, there are a couple colleges that ask specifically, is the class taught on campus here at our school? And they want to know whether or not it counts for a graduation requirement. And so we're finding there are a couple colleges that still want you to take their particular course. Having said that, it is up to the student parent to do a little research to see if you're applying to certain private universities and you're wondering, do they accept dual credit? It would be a little kind of a research aspect to it. One thing I highly, highly suggest is that you just, when it comes time to submit your information to colleges, just have the transcript sent officially from Middlesex to that college, and then they get a transcript on their end. You're not going to be able to indicate the class through our transcript. It would be through the Middlesex transcript coming in, if that makes sense. So we found that to be an effective way to navigate around that process. But a vast, vast majority of our dual enrollment credit is accepted. We haven't had students hit the 30 mark, but we have had students hit the 15 to 20 mark in terms of college credits. All right, and that can be a game changer when going into college. You could take, you could open up your course load in college to maybe minor in something. You could take one less class freshman year to help with the adjustment. So there's a lot of opportunities for dual enrollment to really supplement and help what's going on. And as I said, we'll have some dual enrollment teachers popping in. This is Dr. Gould. She is our AP Psych and dual enrollment Psych teacher. And I want to just give her a little opportunity to talk. We did have a parent ask a question. I was going to answer it, but maybe you could too. Differences between the AP and dual enrollment. Oh. There you go. Yeah, you're being filmed.
Hello. It's a great question. The follow-up question that shapes the answer is, where is your kid going? Because there is no right answer for this particular question. It depends. And students dislike it when we say that, but where are you going? Of course you don't know. How old's your kid? Oh, fantastic. We're just pleased you're here and thinking about this with a 9th grader. Awesome. I'm just barely starting to think about this and I have a sophomore. So good, well done, well done. Okay, so the only easy answer is if your kid you're like, we are headed straight to UMass Amherst, headed straight to UMass Lowell. Then if they do dual enrollment, that isn't even just a dual enrollment. With Middlesex, that is their A from Burlington High School will be waiting for them. Well, it's not from Burlington High School. I enter it in the Middlesex portal, and then it shows up on their transcript. So a student who was rather disappointed he didn't get into some elite schools that he applied to. I think his mother was rather relieved as they were in the 90 grand range. He is loving life at UMass Amherst with his 28 credits from dual enrollment and AP, a combination. So he will be in law school much faster than he would have been normally. If you're looking at a school like Northeastern or a small liberal arts college, they want you to take their English class. If your child is going to go to Harvard and major in psychology, then neither dual enrollment nor the AP class are the answer for them. But you probably don't have that information available to you yet. Every once in a while a kid shows up and that plan actually works, but that is a bit of a rare one. Does that make sense? So on the College Board website, did you already talk about this? If you go to College Board and it talks about the AP classes transferring, that'll take you just to the credit page for every single accredited school in the United States. So they've already found the page for you. So you can just use them even if you're not even talking about AP classes. That platform will tell you exactly where to go. And then you can look up their policies. Now their policies are vague and their policies change. Lovely. But we have some experience and can deal with some things later on when your child is enrolled in a specific class, and we can tell you exactly where things transferred to or if they didn't, because they tell us immediately. They let us know if the worst case scenario, the dual enrollment credit wasn't accepted. I do know like Tufts just changed their policy and they did not accept dual enrollment. And that is deeply disappointing for that kid who needs to take Psych 101 now, when he already took it. But that is the worst case scenario, and we've now had that happen in two different situations, but the other kid, probably just by sending the transcript straight to the school, it would have been fine, but when they handed it in and said, I did dual enrollment at my high school, it wasn't accepted, because it's been accepted for kids before and after them. So any other questions for me specifically as a teacher who deals with this? Or you want to talk to this guy?
No, I have a question.
Yes.
So, all right, let's say you said Middlesex, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so they take psychology here, they get the credits.
Yes.
Does the grade go into also Middlesex, so that counts towards their, what is it, GPA at Middlesex?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely.
Yep, that's a good question. So the GPA, and then obviously the GPA here with us would be calculated in as well. The other thing I wanted to piggyback, oh, did you want to say something else?
On the flip side, if your kid signs up for dual enrollment in high school and fails it, that F will also stay. Just something to think about, right? If they've decided to blow off senior year.
Not like a football penalty, you can decline it.
Right, no.
No, you can't. Yeah, because, you know, as you apply, you have to continue submitting all of your transcripts for graduate school for your.
But, and on that note, too, I think this is, in some cases, when parents learn a little bit about the college deadlines. So in other words, Middlesex has an application deadline with their dual enrollment application, and that's the deadline. So if a student comes in a week or two later, it's going to be too late to sign up. So we really try to push out, and Dr. Gould and the other dual enrollment teachers really try to push out the timeline of the application so students and parents are aware of all the deadlines. And so on that note, just to continue on with the AP dual enrollment, so we have AP courses that are also dual enrollment. But we also have non-AP courses that are also dual enrollment. All right, so I'm just going to try to explain that a little bit better. So, for example, Dr. Gould teaches AP Psych and Honors Psych. They're both considered and been approved by Middlesex as Psych 101. We have Honors Calculus. That's not an AP course. We're working on getting AP Calculus and some other math classes as part of dual enrollment, but Honors Calculus, not an AP class, right? But it's still a dual enrollment class. And we have other classes that are not necessarily AP, but a student can still get dual enrollment. All right, and one thing we have changed at our school, and it's really in effect for juniors, sophomores, freshmen, is you get an extra bump in weight for your GPA for dual enrollment classes. You actually get the same weight as an AP course. So, for example, this human anatomy is honors, okay, but it's dual enrollment, so the student will actually get AP weight for that class. All right, and we give the weight regardless of whether or not you've signed up for the class. Keep that in mind too. So there's some subtleties that we try to get out there as much as we can so everyone has the full picture.
When you say weight, does that mean like how you're calculating high school GPA?
That is 100% true. So just to clarify, the weight is how we calculate the high school GPA. So for example, if you get an A in an honors, it's considered a 4.0. If you get an A in an AP, it's considered a 5.0. However, with the dual enrollment program, for an honors dual enrollment, you would actually, if you get an A in an honors dual enrollment, you would actually get a 5.0. All right? Yep, Amanda just wanted to jump in. Go right ahead.
So also with the AP exams, they typically require a test score for transferring, and that again is going to vary whichever college your student decides to go to and which program they decide to enroll in. So typically with dual enrollment transfer credits, again, this varies program by program, but it could be a C or better in the class, and that would transfer. Some colleges, it may be a C- or better. Some programs, say health-related programs, they may require a B+. And so if your student, too, is seeking the AP route, maybe one school they're looking for will accept a 4. Another school may require a 5 for them to get that credit. Also regarding transfer, so going back to the official and unofficial transcript, so once if your student decides to do dual enrollment with MCC, they are considered an MCC student. They have access to all our services, and they do start their college transcript. So as it was mentioned before, if they fail that F could carry with them. We do have the deadlines, as you mentioned, but we do have the drop, which would basically give your student a chance to enroll in the class, and if they decide it's not right for them, like for our concurrent enrollment, which is the program that's running here at Burlington High, our deadline to drop one of those courses where it's like your student never enrolled in it is this Friday. So that's a little bit of a later window because we're also trying to follow the academic calendar here. And then we have a withdrawal deadline for those classes, and that would result in a W on the transcript if your student decided to withdraw from a class after the drop deadline. So very similar to traditional college, add drop period, withdrawal. And the official transcript piece. So when you're applying, when your child is applying to colleges, they can say, oh, I'm registered for these classes. But until that final transcript, the final grades are inputted, they do need to send over their official transcript, which we have instructions on how your student can order those and get them sent directly to the receiving institution that they're applying to. If they continue on with MCC, those grades just carry on until they complete their time with us. The transcript ordering and the transfer credit, that's always up to the receiving institution. So again, as it was said, when your students are doing tours or maybe admissions counselors are coming here, if they come here, it's good to ask those questions. Do you accept dual enrollment credit? Is there a minimum grade requirement? Again, it's going to vary by the program your child enrolls in. If minimum grades and whatnot, but you can get a general idea of what that college your child is interested in is looking for when it comes to dual enrollment, AP, grades, and whatnot.
Good morning. I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a different perspective. Rachel and I should go on the road for our dual enrollment college board AP. Besides buying your house, investing in a college education is probably the second most expensive thing that you're going to do. So I want you to be consumers here, first and foremost. And the debt that kids are carrying now can be crushing. So I think you just really need to think about this a little bit differently. Yes, you want the most prestigious place for your kid. You want it to be a good match. You want them to be happy. We feel like we can prepare kids here for any college experience that they have. But I just want you to think like a consumer, like this is an investment. So that's really my perspective on this. The College Board is a company. Like any other company, their brand is advanced placement. They want to protect their brand. About 15 years ago, they required high schools to ask permission to use their brand. High schools all over the country used to call any class that they wanted to be thought sort of rigorous, they would call it AP. College Board said, wait a minute, you can't do that, that's our brand. Now, if Burlington High School wants to offer AP Economics, they have to apply to the College Board, right? They have to get the curriculum certified. And guess who provides the training for the teacher to make sure the teacher can deliver their course? The College Board, and we have to pay for that, right? So you have to think about that. College and universities are looking for 4 years of tuition. That's what they're looking for from you. The challenge now, unlike when, I'll say me, you guys are all much younger than me, kids tend not to complete college in 4 years anymore. And in addition to that, about half of them nationally sort of leave college after their freshman year to do sort of something else or to get back to it. So to think about it as this sort of 4-year progression doesn't make sense. I really agree with what Dr. Gould, what Rachel said about sort of what your child wants is an important factor in this. It's actually one of the more critical ones. But we shouldn't all act like our children are going to be Division I athletes and need to be in sort of this place 4 years or 5 years if they redshirt a year. Maybe some of them will. I'm not discounting that, but we shouldn't sort of think about it that way. So all these places are businesses. The difference for me between advanced placement, College Board, and dual enrollment is progression towards a terminal degree, be that an associate's, be that bachelor's. Now, I've worked in 4 states, Massachusetts, New England itself, and I worked in Wisconsin and Virginia. People have a really bad, not really bad, but community colleges aren't thought the same way in Massachusetts as they are in other states. And I think that's just because of the prevalence of 4-year colleges. You can't throw a rock in Massachusetts and not hit sort of a 4-year college. Sorry, I'm losing my glasses. So community colleges are great, and in many cases, our students are as talented, our instructors are as talented as the community colleges that they're attending. A lot of times the instruction at community colleges is much more student-focused, student-centered. So I think they're just an underutilized resource that our kids have. What we've tried to do is identify pathways. And those pathways, I think, are critical. If your child is interested in engineering, as an example, what's a potential pathway for them could be Burlington High School with some of their prerequisite courses taken as dual enrollment in Middlesex. They maybe get a jump in their first year because the credits are from an accredited community college. Transcript should go right from Middlesex. UMass Lowell has a articulation agreement with Middlesex. So your child could go from Burlington High School senior year to Middlesex to finish their associate's degree. Oh my God, associates, is that such a bad thing? Then they have automatic admission, given their GPA, right into UMass Lowell's engineering program. They do their last 2 years at UMass Lowell. They get a degree from, I think, a world-class engineering school, UMass Lowell. You guys have paid 2 years of UMass Lowell tuition. And what does their degree say? Does it say bachelor's degree in engineering via Burlington High School, Middlesex Community College? No, it just says UMass Lowell. And the debt they're carrying coming out of that experience is different than if they just go to a private 4-year engineering school. And I think the preparation would be just as good. So think about that pathway. Think about using dual enrollment. Many of the privates now, the smaller privates, are saying, hey, wait a minute, we need 4 years of tuition. So if your child takes a dual enrollment class, again, if Joe said if they're staying at Burlington High School, then we're not going to count that class. It may count towards placement. So maybe you place out of Bio 1 and you get into Bio 2, but that just means you still need to pay 4 years of tuition. So ask a lot of questions, but ask it from a consumer perspective. I also believe and have had the experience, remember, not every freshman is moving or progressing. There's lots of drop-off freshman and sophomore year. Colleges or businesses, they need to fill seats. There may be fewer international students coming in for whatever reason. There may be a school that your child did not get into as a high school senior that all of a sudden, if they finish their associate's degree, prove that they're a mature student and do really well, that they might have access to a 4-year college as a transfer that they wouldn't have had as a high school senior. Again, in other states, in Virginia, there were guaranteed admission spots. So a kid who couldn't get into UVA as a high school senior, if they went to Germanna Community College and got a 3.9, they would get an automatic admission spot into UVA as a junior. Why? Because UVA has lost some kids, like every college and university, and that's 2 years of tuition that they wouldn't have had they not accepted that transfer in. So please, all this stuff is great. They need to do, grades are always the first criteria. They need to do well in school. They need to show up. I'm not discounting any of that, but please try to think about this more from a consumer perspective. $126 or $130 a credit seems like a lot of money, but you should price out some of the credit costs at some of the colleges and universities, which would be what? A lot more. So,
One of them, I just ran these numbers for another school, and I think for one of the state colleges for a semester, don't quote me on this, it's all public, you can look it up, but I want to say it was about 12 grand for tuition, and that's not including room and board. And not to mention too, Mass Educated Mastery Connect Community Colleges is free for high school graduates. So it's a reduced rate for dual enrollment to get a head start and just to graduate high school. They're in good academic standing, they complete the FAFSA, they can be eligible for free community college. They get their associates essentially for free, and then they can utilize mass transfer and go to UMass Lowell as an example.
So please think about it differently. Again, if your son or daughter is going to be a 4-year, 5-year Division I professional athlete, more power to you. We can all celebrate that. If they're going to just be sort of a terminal bachelor, sort of looking for that college experience, there are ways to go through this that are much easier financially for you and just as rigorous and with just as much of a benefit at the end. So please look at that. AP courses are nationally known. College Board has protected their brand. So if your child is going to apply to Stanford, having advanced placement courses, I think as opposed to dual enrollment courses from Middlesex Community College may be okay. But again, you need to figure that out. I still think the dual enrollment courses are the best buy, the best value, and progress your kids towards that terminal degree faster. And please, 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 take anything from this, don't think of community colleges in a way that is subpar or lesser. They're getting an associate's degree first. For kids who don't always finish in 4 years, if they're experimenting, you want them to trial being a college student. It's a great place for them to show you they have the maturity to do college work and sort of complete, and for you to show you that at a much less, without as much financial risk. I'm not saying that well, but understand that not every kid is ready for college and, you know, whatever, but it may actually provide them that on-ramp to give them the confidence to do well in a 4-year program. So that's my take on dual enrollment, and Joe is right. We were having students graduate with their associate's degree and their diploma at the same time. We're not sort of there yet, and that has to do with a lot of the sort of Massachusetts idea of community colleges, but these courses are rigorous. There's no difference in the derivatives in AP Calc, in Honors Calc, or in dual enrollment Calc. Derivatives are derivatives. It's the same content. And we all have bureaucracies in our jobs. I'm sure you could tell me all of your bureaucracies and headaches. This is part of the bureaucracy of school, but be a consumer as well as a parent, as well as sort of a model for your child.
Thank you. So one other offshoot I wanted to mention with the dual enrollment is we all know about MCAS, we've heard of MCAS, but they actually, if students score high enough, they can get a tuition waiver to Massachusetts public colleges and universities. You have to score in the top 25% within your school, so students can get a tuition waiver. There's an additional, so there's 2 MCAS tuition waivers. The second tuition waiver is for students that may not have hit that top 25% threshold. They're kind of in the middle of the class. So the state asks them to do 2 extra things in order to get that tuition waiver. And dual enrollment classes can be one of those academic achievements in order to get that tuition waiver. So that's another reason why dual enrollment has a little added value, in that you could also use that potentially to get a tuition waiver to one of the Mass public colleges or universities. Well, it's free anyway now at community college, right? I was going to say. Yeah. Yeah, and there's a second one called the COPLIC, but I think COPLIC has to be used right away. And okay. Yeah. So I just wanted to make sure you're aware that that additional, the dual enrollment can count as one of those additional academic achievements. So we've been talking the whole time, so we want to open this up for any questions that parents have. So the tuition waiver applies to the Mass public colleges and universities. So, the question was, if the MCAS tuition waiver, what colleges can that be applied to? And the answer is to the UMass systems. We've all heard of the 4 UMasses, Amherst, Lowell, Dartmouth, and Boston. And then also the state universities, which I'm not going to be able to say them all: Salem State, Westfield, Fitchburg, Framingham. I think Mass College of Liberal Arts, are they still considered one of them? And I know I'm missing a few, but anything that's state university in Massachusetts, the tuition waiver can be applied to those as well. Yes?
A lot of information you just gave out, is that available somewhere?
Yes, so the COPLIC has its own, so if you wanted to do more research on the COPLIC application,
The COPLIC, the tuition waiver?
yes, there's 2. One is called the Adams, and the other is the COPLIC, K-O-P-L-I-K. So you could Google those, as easy as Googling them, and the Department of Education has it listed right on their page. So although MCAS does not count for a graduation requirement anymore, one of the benefits to it would be this tuition waiver. Yes? So the question is, does Burlington High School plan to increase our number of dual enrollment courses? And the answer is yes. We are always working towards that. There are some courses in the building that we've heard from Middlesex that are very transferable. We're looking at statistics as a possibility, and we have other teachers that are looking at the Middlesex program of studies to see what aligns. I also want to mention Shireen Tyrell, who's here. She works here at the school. What's your role? What's your title these days? I'm going to hand it over just to Shireen to introduce herself and her involvement in dual enrollment.
Hi, it's nice to see everyone today. My name's Shireen. I'm working on career pathways, so really looking at how all these courses help your student achieve a particular path. So we're working with Middlesex to look at what dual enrollment courses will lead to proficiency in the liberal arts, in STEM, and also really looking at healthcare. So students can take any of these courses, but we're working on also creating pathways. So as they take them, they're actually achieving a goal beyond just the high school graduation or the college credits. So there's a lot of programs in the state that are really looking at, as students are in school, that we want them to be thinking about their vocation. I have actually a senior in college, and I was just at Parents' Weekend, and parents are like, oh, they'll just figure it out. And honestly, it's best if they start to look at this and start to figure it out as early as possible so that they don't end up seniors without something. So we're really cognizant of that here, and we're really working with students to think about, you're not just taking courses, but you're actually building a foundation for your future. And so that's where these courses come in.
Career pathway, like if somebody knows that they're going into nursing, or if somebody knows they're going into, psychiatry, or is that what you mean?
Yes, I mean, basically you're saying, you're interested in a particular area, and as you take courses, you're working towards having the foundation to go on, and then whatever your pathway is, to be proficient in it. So having a little more thought and really thinking about the courses have purpose and meaning. And how many kids have said, why am I taking this class? So, we're really addressing that by saying you're taking this class because it's going to prepare you for your future in whatever you think you want to do.
You do a pathways breakfast in January, right?
Yeah, so we are going to have a breakfast in January, so you can come back again. We can talk more about pathways and career and academic planning for students.
Do we have academic calendar published for these courses right now, or is it yet to be published?
The academic calendar for the Middlesex dual enrollment courses, that would be, no, I don't think they are. It would be on the teacher's syllabus in their respective class. The Burlington High School teacher syllabus, it's essentially the same as the Middlesex syllabus, so I don't know if I'm answering your question correctly, but teachers provide that information the beginning of the year within their class. But usually for a dual enrollment class that starts in the fall, the deadline is early October. So parents and students have about a month, a little bit more than a month, to think about whether or not they'd like to sign up. And it's a good opportunity. Our program of studies gets updated every year in January. So to know what we'll be offering next year, that would be available in January. Obviously, our hope is we continue these and expand on them. But I can tell you, in the community I live in, I don't live in Burlington, they don't offer this. And I wish they did. I would be all over it. I have a freshman in high school now. But I think the dual enrollment courses are, again, slight risk, right? Maybe the college doesn't accept it, but again, this is me personally speaking, I think it's definitely worth the risk. And I didn't introduce our principal who's here too. I didn't mention Mr. Sullivan's in the back, paying attention.
Thanks, Joe.
You're welcome. That's okay.
So how sooner, like ninth grader or 10th grader, can they apply for a course like this?
So the question is, what grade level do students need to be in order to participate in dual enrollment? And so that would align with whatever the course requirements are. So, I mean, I can just tell you off the top of my head, there are no dual enrollment, as of today anyway, no dual enrollment classes for freshmen at all. Grade 10, it starts to open up with computer science. A student could take honors psychology as well. And then junior and senior year, programming is another one you could take in grade 10. And so that's a good question. Maybe that's something we could add to our website so families know the grade levels. We will take that suggestion, but it really starts becoming available in grade 10.
So just in continuation of this, like if a person is trying to go in healthcare, like he wants to take human anatomy or psychology, physiology. So for that, will 11th grade be like a better time when you start the course?
Yeah, again, I think it would be whatever that student has kind of planned out. And I think if you're going the healthcare route, depending on what you want to take, human anatomy would probably be a good one to take. A lot of students will take AP Bio in grade 10, and then human anatomy in grade 11 or 12. All right. And so I think to your question about what grade level for human anatomy, depending on the background and game plan of that student, it would be in either grade 11 or 12. Any other questions? Yes.
So we talked about the application. So these classes come out around January, and the application is roughly when should the students start the application process?
That's a great question. So when should students start the dual enrollment application process? It's actually the beginning of the school year that the class is offered. So you'll know when you sign up for courses in January and February, right? The student is aware what's the dual enrollment class they've signed up for. Fast forward to September when the school year starts, the application will be available usually second week of school, second week of September. And then you have about a month to get the application done and submitted. Right, Teresa?
A little less than a month.
Less than a month.
Take them early.
She'll love to take them early as well. Did that answer your question?
It did.
Okay.
Let's say honors AP psychology.
Yep.
Student applies for it. They get it for the next year. Student signs up for it. They get it for the next year. They apply for it. They're turned down, but they still take the class. It just doesn't count as doing it.
Correct. But the application, you would know while completing the application whether or not you'd be turned down. All right? If you have below a 2.0, then you wouldn't be eligible to apply. If you are lower on your PSAT English score, we would have you go through the self-guided placement. All right, so we have some mechanisms in place to ensure all students at least have the opportunity to do that. So, but even still, if a student didn't qualify, they would absolutely be able to stay in that course for the remainder of the year. Any other questions? That's a great question. I'm going to let you answer that, but I want to just say the question. So the question was, once a student is enrolled in dual enrollment with Middlesex specifically, do they have access to any other resources at Middlesex?
Yes, they do. They receive, once we receive an application, we'll process that. They are assigned a student ID number. They can get a physical ID card too if they want. They have access to all our supports and services. We offer a lot virtually too, so if kids can't get to the campus, they have those available. Tutoring, wellness resources, library resources, oh my gosh, career services. There's a lot available for students. Again, whether they want to come physically on the campus, which we would love, and we know that that's not possible for all students, whether or not it's a transportation issue, schedule conflict, we do have those online supports. So they could schedule an appointment with our tutors, for example, a virtual appointment, an in-person appointment. There's also a third-party tutoring I think it's a national program that we partner with as well. So if they have a late night question, a last minute question, they couldn't get an appointment with a tutor, they could submit that question to this e-tutoring portal. Our library services, which would help them in their high school classes and whatever future endeavors they have after the fact, say for research papers, a librarian can assist them finding worthwhile articles and journals and whatnot to complete their research paper, citation resources. There's also streaming services available with our library as well. With wellness, there's different counseling supports. There's food pantries on both of our campus sites, Bedford and Lowell, that students have access to as well. Career services, with that, they have access to a virtual job shadow site, which is really awesome. So if they can't get to a physical job shadow, they can watch these videos that kind of walk through what the day-to-day experience would be in any specific job. So that's just an example of some of the resources and supports available to students.
Great question. One other thing I want to mention too is, let's just say student doesn't participate in any of these, and senior year they regret it, they wish they did. So we do have the opportunity, which we've started doing this maybe 3 years ago now. Middlesex offers something called mini-mesters. This would just be for seniors, right around the same time as our intern program, which is in the spring. Middlesex offers a variety of mini-mester courses, and that's for full college credit, right? The mini-mesters? Yeah. So we'll have students that will sign up and participate in spring of senior year for something called mini-mesters. And those are essentially a variety of courses that Middlesex offers that are considered college-level courses that students could still participate in. So we have had students take advantage of that opportunity. Those are usually either virtual or they could even be on-site at Middlesex, correct?
Most are online classes, and those are full-term classes condensed into half a semester. So say 16 weeks condensed into 8. So they are full credit classes, they're just the time to complete them is shorter.
And again, that's eligibility in senior year, in the spring of senior year. It kind of aligns with our intern program as well. Does anyone have any other questions? All right, well, we thank you all for coming. We appreciate it. I'll stick around to answer any questions that anyone may have had you didn't want to ask on TV or in the crowd, so I'll stick around. But again, thank you all for coming. Take some treats for the road as well. Thank you.